David was a shepherd boy. He lived in the land of Israel long ago. David was a good boy. He loved God very much. One day, God chose David for something special. God chose David to be the next king of Israel. David was just a young boy, but God saw his kind heart. God saw his strong faith. David was surprised. He knew he was just a shepherd, but David trusted God. He knew God had a plan for him. David was ready to follow God's way. David spent his days in the fields, surrounded by the gentle bleating of sheep and the rustling of the wind through the grass. He watched over his father's sheep with a keen eye, always alert to any signs of danger. It was a big job, requiring patience and dedication. But David was a good shepherd, always ensuring his flock was safe and well cared for. He kept the sheep safe from danger, standing guard against any threats that might come their way. He protected them from lions and bears, bravely facing these wild animals to ensure his flock remained unharmed. David loved to sing songs as he worked, his voice carrying across the fields and bringing a sense of peace to the land. He sang songs about God's love, filling the air with melodies that spoke of his deep faith and devotion. He sang songs about God's power, celebrating the strength and protection he felt from his Creator. David's songs came from his heart, each note a testament to his unwavering faith and trust in God. He knew God was always with him, guiding his steps and watching over him as he tended to his flock. Out in the fields, under the sun and stars, David's faith grew stronger with each passing day. He learned to depend on God for everything, finding strength and courage in his faith. He learned to trust God completely, knowing that no matter what challenges he faced, he was never alone. This trust would make David very brave one day, preparing him for the great things that lay ahead in his life. One day, a giant came to Israel. His name was Goliath. Goliath was very big and very scary. He shouted at the Israelite army. He challenged them to a fight. The Israelite soldiers were afraid. No one wanted to fight the giant. But then David came to the Israelite camp. His brothers were soldiers in the army. David heard Goliath's challenge. He was not afraid. David knew God was with him. He told the king he would fight Goliath. King Saul was surprised. David was just a boy. But David was confident. He knew God would help him. David went out to face the giant. He was just a young shepherd boy, not a trained warrior. But he had something that the giant didn't have. He had his slingshot and some stones. These were simple tools, but David knew how to use them well. He didn't have a big sword or armor. He didn't need them. His confidence came from a different source, but David had something much stronger. He had unwavering faith and a heart full of courage. He had faith in God. This faith gave him the strength to face the giant without fear. David shouted to Goliath, "You come against me with a sword and a spear, but I come against you in the name of the Lord Almighty, the God of the armies of Israel, whom you have defied." Then David put a stone in his sling and swung it around and around. He aimed carefully, trusting in God's guidance. He let the stone fly. It soared through the air with incredible speed and precision. The stone hit Goliath right in the forehead. The impact was so powerful that it stunned the giant. The giant fell to the ground with a crash. The mighty warrior was defeated by a single stone. David had defeated the giant. His faith and courage had triumphed over brute strength. He had trusted in God, and God had given him the victory. This story reminds us that with faith, even the smallest among us can achieve great things. David's story teaches us to be brave. He was just a young shepherd boy, but he had the courage to face a giant. His bravery wasn't because he was strong or powerful, but because he had faith in God. Like David, We might face giants in our lives. These giants can be anything that seems too big for us to handle, like challenges, fears, or difficult situations. These giants might be our fears or our problems. They can make us feel small and powerless, but we must remember that we are not alone. But we should never be afraid. Just like David, we can stand tall and face our challenges with courage and confidence, because God is with us. His presence gives us strength and hope, even in the darkest times. David's story also teaches us to have faith. He trusted in God completely, and that faith gave him the power to overcome his fears. When we trust in God, we can do amazing things. Our faith can move mountains and help us achieve what seems impossible. Even if we are small, God can use us to do great things. Our size or age doesn't matter to him. Just like he used David, a young shepherd boy, to defeat a giant and save his people. So let's be brave like David. Let's face our giants with courage and faith. Let's trust in God with all our hearts. His guidance and love will lead us through any challenge. And let's remember that with God, even a shepherd boy can do amazing things. No matter who we are, with faith and courage, we can achieve greatness.